Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Want to say that God is good. Definitely, definitely want to say that God is good. Grateful for another day. I really grateful for another day. Thank you, Lord God. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. It's a lot going on. I have to say that because sometimes we could get a little passionate about those things that we are speaking on. Sometimes we can get a little passionate about these important issues that seem to be attacking our communities, seem to be important. Sometimes people don't think it's as important, and some people do. You know, peace, be still. Peace, be still. Keep trying to gather myself as I gather my thoughts. Because the one thing you don't want to do is be too emotional about anything. But we definitely have to do our best to spread this awareness and let people make up their own minds. And I guess that's part of what really had me. It's something about being able to allow people to speak their own minds. Watching from Haiti, what's up, my brother? Yes, he is good all the time. I appreciate that. Yes, yes, yes. My brother joining from Facebook Live. I appreciate you, brother. I know things are dire in Haiti, but I appreciate you for taking a minute to share with me, listen with me. And really, all we're really doing right now is we're just doing a reaction video to so many different things. To some of my brothers that I listen to and that I support, I appreciate you for doing your best. Not just brothers, but sisters as well. Doing your best to spread this awareness. And I know it is hard. To the Antons of the world, thank you. ARP, a righteous perspective, thank you. A conservative perspective, that brother there, thank you. The LFR family, Van, thank you. To the Candace Owens of the world, Michaela Montgomerys, and anybody else who find themselves with melanin, not just people with melanin in their skin, because there are many other whites as well doing this work. And it's not a work for a black person or a white person. It's a work actually of spreading awareness, loving people. And I think that means the work of God. And yeah, I wanted to appreciate that. I love also Lefties losing it. I love that sister there. So it's so many different people that's doing their best to show the lunacy of what's going on today. And I felt it was important to also, do my part. Whether it's 1,000 people, whether it's one person, or 10,000, or two people. The fact is that we have so many Joe Biden people out here. When I say Joe Biden people, I mean, just to put it bluntly, I have a troll. We all have trolls. I got some nerd troll, and I don't say that in a bad, negative way, just being honest. Another white guy who actually thinks and speaks and acts like Joe Biden did when he told none other than Charlemagne the boy, Leonard, when he told Leonard, if you don't know who you're voting for out of me and Trump, then you ain't black. Told Leonard straight out, if you have to decide whether you're voting for me or Trump, then you're not black. I got some troll on Facebook. By the way, this troll happens to be somebody, Kelly Benjamin, who outright has actually come to me before and said, hey, I like your music. I like what you do. I like what you stand for. I like your stance. I like your passion. I would like to pay you to uh, be involved in something I'm involved in. I would like to pay you to march with me. I would like to give you a format, a platform in a fight that I'm involved in. And I would like you to come to the RNC convention and do some things and uh, you know, so forth and so on. So in other words, join my cause. Let me give you a platform to talk about this thing right here. What was going on with the Republicans, RNC, when RNC convention came to Tampa. And being that I supported everything he stood on, by the way, we also was aiming for the DNC as well. I supported what he stood on, and I went. Thousands of people, mostly Caucasian and Latino, Puerto Rican, a lot, not very many blacks. But that wasn't the point. The point was I could be mobilized for his cause, for the cause of the people that or that fight was around at that point, at that time. This same man now is all in my feed telling me now that I am programmed because I speak for myself. I am programmed. Black men are programmed if we don't support, and I'm gonna just put it bluntly. To be totally honest, he hasn't really mentioned Kamala's name. This guy is upset because I am not supporting Tim Walz. He says things like this. I wanna actually read what this guy had the nerve to tell me. And it just shows you the audacity of white men like him. Not all white men, but there are a lot like him. Like I said, he's being just like Joe Biden, and he's telling black people, you cannot think on your own. You have to let us tell you how to do it. By the way, we see this a lot. Hold on a second. We see this a lot. And somebody's here early. It's my sister. But we see that a lot with the Democrats telling black men and black people, well, black men can't vote. Black men can't get IDs. Black people can't do this. Black people can't do that. So we have to bend rules and do all of this and that. We'll call it voter rights. The Democrats are taking your rights. As a matter of fact, everything they warn us of, they have done. And so now we see it again. And yeah, like I said, I want to read some of this stuff that this guy is trolling me, and some of the almost everything I say, he has an opinion on it, but most of it, and this has only been of late. This has been of late as as Tim Walz was picked. So he's very passionate about this Tim Walz guy. Let me see. Where is this guy? Listen to the mind of this character. Crown Dion. You are being programmed by someone else to be outraged over what they want you to be outraged about. Most boys with sisters and moms grew up with, what's up, Jonathan? What's up, my brethren? Grew up with tampons in bathrooms. They turned out just fine. This is his reasoning behind um, the whole thing about Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's vice president, mandating, not suggesting, not saying it is okay if a school wants to do it individually, not saying if mothers or fathers want to put, I know this sounds ridiculous, but I have to say it. So if mothers and fathers want to put a tampon in their son's backpack, by the way, we're talking about elementary kids, elementary students, middle school and high school. If your mom or dad wants to give that little boy, that's the main word we're talking about here, that boy, a tampon in his backpack, he has a right to do it. He's not saying that. He has actually mandated into law that there must be tampons in boys' bathrooms all over the state of Minnesota. And this is who Kamala Harris has chosen to be her VP. Jonathan, what's up? What's up? What's up? Yes, yes, man. I'm talking about Kelly Benjamin. He's been trolling me, and he's been giving me his reasoning for, I guess, fighting for tampons to be in elementary school boys' bathrooms. Yeah, I don't understand it. And so he's telling me that I'm programmed because of this. That kind of sounds almost like Joe Biden with his statements about we must go with all of this stuff, and also that we are programmed as black men if we are finding ourselves not buying the smoke, not going for the BS. Yeah, this is crazy. This is indeed crazy. So I'm noticing that he's not doing that with the thousands, the hundreds of thousands of black men that are actually standing up and actually having their own voices and actually having their own minds of thought. He's actually trying to troll me because he feels like he knows me. Because, as I said, I have done work with this guy before. But I guess as long as I'm working with him under his cause, it was cool. But how dare you, as a black man or a black woman, start thinking for yourself opposite of what I tell you to think? This is Kelly Benjamin. By the way, I know some black people that if he was to say that to them, he would have to go in hiding. And that's sad. It's really, really crazy. This is a man telling us we do not have brains. We cannot think our own on our own. Don't do it. Listen to me. And if you're not listening to me, he actually said that I'm getting my points in a vacuum. I've fallen off the some word. I can't even the Rubicon. You know. And so anyway, I want to react to some of these things that's going on in our communities. And I am positive. I'm positive. I'm positive. Jonathan, how you doing this morning? Wondering what Tim, his buddy, thinks about this. Yeah. So I want to share some things about this woman, about a mother who had a food truck. And obviously she fell on some hard times. This comes from this comes from a guy Anton. Appreciate the work he's doing. Great work. A warrior. And yeah, man, but this young lady fell on some hard times. I actually have heard about the story, been listening to it on Instagram. But I actually want to play it for some of you to just let you hear the amount of money that are being given to a whole nation of different people. And when I say nation, I don't mean a color, I don't mean a culture. The group of people that are uh, illegal aliens right now have more than the citizens, the poor citizens of America, people that have paid taxes at one time or another, people that have worked hard to achieve what they call the American dream, people that have actually worked hard to actually bring up the injustices in America as well as the freedoms in America and as well as the American dream. I think it's crazy. More than anything, I think people like Kelly Benjamin, you know, the one thing that I'm positive of and that I've been reminded of is anybody can marry. Anybody. It doesn't make you a man just because you got married. And I remember because this guy, he seemed to be somewhat of a associate or a friend at one time when I was doing work for him and for the cause. And so I know he had a child not too long ago. Imagine this man looking his child in the face. God forbid that it's a daughter. He's now saying and agreeing that his daughter should not have fair chances at school and sports. He's mad at me. He actually mentioned the fact that in some areas I'm crying over the fact that boys can compete against girls in sports. By the way, I'm not crying. He calls it outrage. I haven't been outraged at all. He seems to be outraged that I'm thinking on my own. So he used the word outrage in about five or six of his responses. And it's clear to me that he's outraged that black people would dare think on their own. And it's quite funny to me because we're not thinking that way by ourselves. I have a great friend, Jonathan, who happens not to be black. I know other real men, Caucasians, who happen to agree. So it's not just a thing where black men are coming up on this thought on their own. This is actually a universal thought with men in general. There are no real men walking around saying there should be tampons in the elementary boys' bathroom. If you find yourself on that side of the equation, then you are in the closet on something. That's all. And you'll be better out coming out of the closet, letting your wife know if you're missing tampons, it's you. If she's coming up short on a few tampons, it's the husbands that's supporting this type of thing. Because if he can say little boys can wear them, he is probably wearing them too. And it is crazy to me that some man would be upset with another man by saying this is right or this is wrong. Being upset with another man for saying this is wrong. And by the way, like I said, he equates this, Jonathan, by saying anybody who grew up with a mother and a sister knows what it is to have tampons, deja vu, good morning, tampons in the boys in the bathroom. And that is not the same. Ariel, good morning. That is not the same. That is totally not the same. You cannot say that if you grew up in a house with a woman, with sisters and a mother, you know what it is to have. No, I want to tell you something real quick before I get into this video with Anton. The reason why he mandated it, the reason why it is a state mandate, could you somebody has to mute their microphone, please? If you The reason why Tim is making it so the reason why Tim made this a mandate is so he can get around the parents. He can get around Jonathan's ideas as a parent. He can get around Deja Vu's ideas as a parent. He can get around Ariel as a parent. He can get around Kim as a parent. He can get around and you as a mother and father by doing what? Not asking your permission, but by telling you, I don't need your permission. I'm going to go to the school board and make it happen. Whether you like it or not, I'm going to give these visuals to your son as he goes to the boys' bathroom every day. If he goes to the boys' bathroom feeling intimidated by some bully that just said something to him, he can go in there and feel and see tampons and get in touch with some reality that should not be there, or some thought that should not be there. If he's having thoughts of being, seeing maybe his sister receive a little bit more love at home because she has a natural father, or she gets treated better in his opinion at that age, or he, when we are kids, we change our minds the least little bit about a lot of different things. And the idea that these things should be mandated to be in boys' bathrooms at any time is crazy. And you have to ask yourself why. You have to ask yourself why not leave this choice in the hands of the parents. That's because these are sick people. And anybody else that gets upset with you for saying that, they are sick as well. My good people, this is Anton. Like I said, this lady had a food truck. I think this was shared to me by actually Deja Vu. And then I started looking into it, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Check this out. This is not about the tampons. It's just about what they're doing, how they're overlooking people that paid taxes. You could not have a job right now, but you've paid taxes at some point. We got veterans lying in the streets. That's the funny thing. This guy Kelly Benjamin, one of the things that he act like he was for was veterans. The homelessness in America right now, the mental health in America right now. But he's a joke. He's a real joke, because these are the people being overlooked right now. We just had a situation where we saw a migrant leave a receipt at the grocery store, and on that receipt, everybody knows you have a balance. EBT balance over $13,000. That's the $20,000 credit that they give to migrants. And like I said, by the way, somebody said, hey, these are not migrants. Stop calling them migrants. I'm reminded that they are illegal aliens. So the illegals can get $20,000. Not only was that receipt over $13,000 in EBT food stamps, but also over $4,000 cash assistance. You can't tell me there's not a white woman, poor, or black poor woman, Latino, Mexican, Hispanic, that are civilians in America that can't use $13,000 worth of food stamps. By the way, they would never let them get that high. You can't let yours get that high. You have a certain amount of time to spend yours, Ariel. You better spend yours in 90 days, even if it was a hurricane that came through and knocked your home down. You got 90 days to spend those stamps. How is somebody getting $13,000? That's because they gave it to them. And we know if we're in the hood or in the streets, if you got $13,000 in food stamps, that amounts to about $6,500 cash really quick. I'll buy that for $1. I'll buy that for $1. Yeah. Yeah, so it's crazy. People are being overlooked, overran. People are struggling. People are moving back in with their parents, their moms, their sisters and brothers because of the great struggle of inflation right now. And this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. And I got some guy trolling me. Like I said, Out of the hundreds of thousands of black men speaking up, bringing awareness, this chump feels okay coming on my feed, making all kinds of statements, and he doesn't. I don't understand that you're making those statements against black men, not just black crown. Because the one thing that both thoughts and phrases have in common is the word black. And he, as a white guy, feels that he has the right to determine how we think. Why else would he come on and tell me I am being programmed? But when he wanted to program me and thousands of other people and paid me to go to the RNC, paid me to stand up against Mitt Romney, all was cool. Let me program you, but how dare you program yourself? How dare you start waking up to what's going on? How dare you speak out on your own without us giving you talking points? And by the way, if we give you the talking points, it's part of the agenda, and you don't sound like you're having the same agenda as me. We need tampons in boys' bathrooms all the way from elementary to high school. I don't understand. Just come out of the closet, admit that you are on the low or down low, and feel better about yourself. Wear your own tampons, but stop trying to put that on little boys. At what point did this become legal? Like, really? Anton, talk about it.
I need this message to go out to our vice president who's running for president. I have heard all over social media about, excuse me if I say anything wrong, immigrants getting loans, money. It was hard for me to believe. It was just extremely hard for me to believe. I've been in business such a long time. Back in 2019, I purchased my first food truck. It cost me over $25,000. I paid it cash money. I worked hard to pay for this truck. I'm now selling it because I'm doing other things, but I'm selling it. I had a guy come to look at purchasing my vehicle, or my food truck, and he explained to me he's an illegal immigrant.
I can already see where this is about to go. She looked like she about to cry. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. You ain't got to worry about nobody giving you no handout for that. It's going to be the best product that you buy. You know what I'm saying? And we definitely going to address this. And make sure y'all tap into after hours tonight. But I could already see where this is going to go, and she's already addressing it.
You're seeing Skechers' famous glide step footwear.
I hate when that happens.
Everywhere. And now that famous design is available in hands.
As a letter to the vice president who wants to be president of the United States of America. Now that we got out of the honeymoon phase, we can get to the brass tacks of things, because we want to see what real Americans are really experiencing in real life. And she said, listen, I didn't know, or I didn't believe that it was real, but I'm going to tell you, I visited New York. I know what's happening out here in these streets. I've been covering this for the last
Benjamin,
2
I hope
years
you're
plus.
listening.
I seen what
You
Eric
know it
Adams
all.
did just today.
You
Eric
know it
Adams
all, and you
said
can tell
that
black
they've
men and
spent
women
billions,
how
and I
to
mean
think.
up to over $2
Why don't you
billion
listen to other
a
people
year on the
that you
migrant
can't,
crisis.
that
So when
you
you
would
see them walking
definitely
around with
not
these
feel
debit and
comfortable
these
jumping
EBT
into their
cars, and
feed,
they got
telling them
free
how to
housing
think?
and school, and they teaching them English and all of this
People
stuff,
like you and Joe
know
Biden
that came from your
are
tax
the
dollars,
problem.
and it's also an insult to you as a working American of what you really to say.
He has no credit. He has no money in the bank. But he showed me his paperwork that he will receive funds to purchase my food truck. I'm thankful that he's buying it, but I'm hurt that I worked so hard to pay cash for my food truck.
Absolutely.
I have good credit. Can't even get a business loan because of the color of my skin. I have veterans in my family. I'm a veteran. I've been self-employed for so long. But somebody, please tell me, how do I work so hard to have somebody who comes to this country, not long, no credit, and he shows me paperwork where they'll be funding him money to buy my food truck. And when I talked to the bank, they told me usually they have to go straight to a dealership because I'm a private sale. But for special circumstances, they're going to, they allow it.
If you've ever built anything, and I know for a lot.
Yeah, I'm wondering how many people share this story. I wonder how many people have had this type of experience. Maybe not really to the point that they have to sell their food truck. Obviously, everybody doesn't have a food truck to sell. But a veteran. This lady is a veteran. It's quite funny. I actually didn't know that. When we hear the story a lot, we hear the main parts of the story, and the main part is not that she's a veteran, but what she's going through and who's gonna help her get out of the situation and how they're gonna help her get out of the situation by purchasing her truck. Uh, but this lady is also a veteran. Isn't it hypocritical and funny how somebody like this Kelly guy and so many other people like him, they have so much respect for this guy, Tim Walz. They tell you to have respect. This guy served our country. We love Tim Walz, coach, father figure, father energy, because he wants to put boys back. He wants to put tampons in elementary boys' bathroom. He has great father energy. But when they see a black person who's a veteran come up and speak their story, it's of no significance. It means absolutely nothing. Well, she just said she served this country. In what regard? I don't know. She says she's a veteran. That's good enough, right? This is crazy. I mean, how many people are taking out one, two, second, third, fourth mortgage to take care of different things for their homes right now? How many people are taking in-laws right now? So that's why I say it's so many people share her story just with different circumstances around it. Just different circumstances. Different circumstances, man.
A lot of people, this is hard to believe, or it doesn't resonate with you, but this resonates with me because when you put your own money up and you had to get it out the mud and you built something from scratch, you built the business from scratch, you built the brick and mortar business from scratch, you built the food truck from scratch, you built your business out of your home, you know the dedication of blood, sweat, and tears, the lack of sleep, and all of the effort and hard work that goes into it in order to try to achieve the American dream. Whether you failed or you won, you have an emotional connection to the grind and the hustle and the dedication to that business. And so the business means more than what you make from it, or the business means more of what you sell the items in it for is meaningful to you. And so
I do
this
have the link
election and what's
to this
happening right
video in the
now,
description
and the
of
reason
this
that
video
she's
that we're
crying
doing
is
right
more
now.
than
So
just
if
the
anybody
fact
want to see
that,
the
oh
full
man,
video, you can at any
this is what's
time.
happening or it's
I think
unfair.
it's worth sitting
It's
down
an
listening to.
emotional
By the
connection
way,
to
if
your
you also
dedication and
want
your hard work of what it took to
another
build
good
this
page
thing.
to listen to,
It's
my guy,
almost
that
like
guy Anton,
building up a
and he
house
welcomes
and paying it
anybody
off
on a
only
live
to see
to
somebody
actually,
come and just tear it down in five
somewhat
seconds. It's gonna
debate
make you
or
cry.
get
It's
some
gonna make you shed a
awareness.
tear.
But I need my president to tell me why I worked so hard all these years, all these decades. Couldn't get a business loan, but I bust my ass to get the money to create my business. And we got immigrants coming here. And they're getting money. Money! We're doing nothing. But just
Y'all literally should be pissed off.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah, Tim Walls. I'm finna read some comments really quick. Yeah, Kelly Benjamin. He's a crazy guy. Wondering what Tim, his buddy, thinks about this. Uh, Referring to, he apparently works for the city of Tampa. I heard of him. He's been to many strikes. Yes, he has. He does a lot of good work. You know, the only problem is, um, this the first time I understood. Like I said, I did some work with him on things that I believed in. But now all of a sudden, he looks and he sees in my feed, wait a minute. Oh my gosh. Crown Dion is not listening to Kamala Harris. He's not listening to Tim Walz. You mean to tell me, wait, he's thinking on his own? I must let him know how stupid he sounds. I must let him know that he is being programmed. And so I thought Kelly Benjamin was a good guy myself. But now I see that he was doing those things because he was being a programmer. And as long as he feels as he can do the programming, it's okay. But the minute you think on your own, it's not okay. But he wasn't programming me. I actually agreed with the stance that he was taking at that time. Uh, he could not pay me to go on a crusade with him on this one. He could not pay me. What's wrong also? Yeah, he could not pay me to actually go up and protest for the right for governors all over America to start saying, I'm going to mandate to each school. By the way, if you're in Florida and you're laughing, you're thinking it's a joke because we're in a state with Ron DeSantis. You better get a grip. That's why a lot of us in Florida, we're sleeping, we're standing on our hands, and we think it's a joke, actually. We're not giving any good attention. We're not giving any energy to it. And we're actually laying down on our children. And it makes me think about the title of this reaction video. Impotent. How important is it that we actually blast these impotent men or women that no longer, I should say, women that are probably past birth giving age? Impotent men like him or women that are past birth giving age are the ones saying, I don't care what my child has to face. I don't care. I don't really care. These soft men, yeah, soft, impotent, limp would all kind of be in the same category. And so it is these men that have no reason to have a backbone, to have no reason to show strength right now. How dare a man with kids walk around saying, yeah, we should put tampons in elementary schools' bathrooms and equate it to toilet paper. That's what, and see, they get on all their mini feeds and they give each other talking points. And so on some of the Instagrams, TikToks, and Facebooks, what you hear the liberals saying is, it's no different than a wad of toilet paper. Toilet paper has always been in all bathrooms. That's what they're saying. But you hear what Kelly Benjamin told me, it's no different from growing up in a household. If you're a boy that grew up with a mother and a sister, you grew up with tampons in the bathroom. I agree. You're probably right. But it was mandated, but it was not mandated in schools. You go to school for an education. If a parent wanted her son to have that in his, environment, they could put it in his book bag. Why? I don't know. As a matter of fact, I don't know of not one single parent that has ever done that. And we've never heard of it. Now we hear of it because the governor of an American state has put it into law. I say mandate in case you don't know what that means. Basically, this is an executive order. It's not an executive order because he didn't have to make it one. But I want you to know he bypassed all little people who would vote on it. He didn't give city council. He didn't give area mayors. He didn't give those people, the school board. Now, I'm not going to ask you. As a matter of fact, when he signed this document, they called him. This was supposed to be talked about. No, 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 no. We don't even have to go through all that. I'm going to mandate it right off top. When somebody mandates something, that's what Ron DeSantis had to do. Ron DeSantis had to say, wait a minute, I'm going to sign this right now for all of you lunatics who are talking to our school age children about changing their gender. I'm going to make it a law that you can't do it. To the schools in Florida, you can't do it. And liberals like Kelly Benjamin took that and they said, oh, we're going to call it the Don't Say Gay Bill. And he never said don't say gay. It's actually called the Parents' Rights Bill. But they have to, excuse me, they have to slide the language in there to deceive the people because that's all they're good at. Lying to the people, deceiving the people, and making sure that you get information from them and don't think on your own. We can't trust you to think on your own. I think it's crazy. I think it's sad. It's really, really sad. Yes, yes, yes. Really, really sad. Um, and like I said, the link to that video is definitely in the description. I see Jonathan up. I see Ariel up. You got anything you want to add to the feed? How do you feel about that, Jonathan? If you like to talk on it. All right, Ariel.
Okay.
Oh, my bad. Unmute yourself. As a mother, all right, my brother Jonathan said he was good. As a mother, Ariel,
Yes.
feel about that?
Well, I mean, I don't have any sons, but what I will say is, I mean, even when like being in a relationship with your man, husband, whatever, even when like we are like on our monthlies or whatever, even they don't want to, speak about it because I mean, my opinion is it's just like it's just not a conversation for a man, for a young man, for a boy, because it's just normally like being
Well,
in
well,
school. Go ahead. What were you
well
gonna say?
let me ask you this: how would
Okay.
you feel just as a parent? Without um, the fact that this governor is gonna. It would be like, what if you what if you found out that the governor of Florida, the governor of any governor mandated that your daughter, maybe they had condoms in the elementary girls' bathroom and had condoms in there, or made it a mandate that women, girls in elementary school should be uh, subject to seeing things like rubbers in the girls' bathrooms or dildos, because that would be the same. This
I
is These are things that they are trying to get kids in touch with that boys don't leak, men don't leak. Are they telling these boys, go ahead, pee in your pants whenever you want to? Um, Give him a diaper if that's the case, right? Why is it that a governor would go around the parent and say, I'm going to make this a mandated law that your son can see this and have access to this? By the way, this is the same governor that if you're in those schools, and they want to call themselves a different name in school, they have a right to do it without the parent knowing about it. So these people are setting up our children. they are actually grooming. And some people have a real issue with that. They have a real issue with you not wanting your child to be groomed. And I think that's in itself a problem. I think
That
that
is
in
a
itself is a
problem.
problem.
Yeah, that is a problem. And I do agree with you because I definitely wouldn't want to be informed that now all of a sudden they have condoms and dildos in little girls' bathrooms because why do they need that in the little girl's bathroom? I have no idea. Like you said, with grooming the children into whatever they want them to be, I just feel like that's not their choice. That's actually the parents' choice. But at the end of the day, it's like there's only two genders. All of that unnecessary, other stuff like non-binary and stuff like that. That's crazy. Like either your child is a boy or your child is a girl. End of discussion. Um,
I agree.
these extra, excess things that they trying to give to the children and trying to teach the children in schools, and it sucks because it's like some of us parents can't afford the best schools for our children. So the schools that we are able to afford for our children to go to, those just happen to be the schools that they're teaching our
Yeah.
children about, oh
Yeah.
well, your little boy will happen to, want to be a girl. And it's like, how can you just tell me that? Because you don't know what's going on in our home or what my child is learning inside of the home. So how can you tell me, oh, well, your little girl is going to end up being a little boy one day,
Well,
and that's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and speaking of that, you're exactly right. The trolling guy Kelly Benjamin said most boys grew up like that. I don't know where he's from. Obviously, he said most boys grew up like that. I know of none, zero. And then he goes on to say, and they turned out just fine. Also, speaking, you just said something that reminded me. We all know of Michaela Montgomery. A lot of people call her the Chick-fil-A girl. Um, but as I did more research, she's a lot more than the Chick-fil-A girl. And people would love for us to just think that. And you hear the Democrats or the liberal media blast her. Oh, she don't know what she's talking about. She's just a Chick-fil-A girl. When you really listen to her story, she studied law.
Right.
Um, and she did a lot to actually be in the position she's in now. And I wanted to get a few words from her. Just talking about, she was on the Washington Journal C-SPAN. I also have that link to her video in the description as well. But it's amazing how our journeys somehow bring us to the forefront. And sometimes you don't know that person's story until you actually look into it. Then you find out, hey, there has been hands on this woman. There has been hands on this man. Jonathan made a great point. Yeah, Tim Walz leaving his National Guard so he did not have to go to combat is a disgrace. Jonathan, I want to ask you, are you a veteran? Just asking. Because I know a lot of veterans are, okay, he said no. And it doesn't matter. I just wanted to know because I'm not either. I notice a lot of veterans are saying the same thing. And I agree with what Jonathan said, even though I'm not a veteran. I think it's disgraceful. The proof is out. He knew he had to go, and he left it. But I think the biggest, okay, nope. But he grew up in a military family, so he knows what it is to have that respect and admiration, especially when it comes to rank. This guy is all over the internet lying about his rank, how he retired with what rank, man. And from what I know, working at the VA and all, rank is a serious thing. Where you were, how you retired, how you left that battlefield, the people you commanded, the people that look up to you as sergeant, captain, whatever it may be, lieutenant, colonel. Those people hold you in high regard because of your real rank. What have you done and earned to be to have this title? And this guy is all over the internet lying about his rank. This guy is all over the internet. By the way, he also has a mugshot. I'm wondering, since he's been arrested for drunk driving, was he drunk when he signed this bill? Was he drunk when he sat and thought to himself, I'm going to write a law that overrides parents, which is, like I said, the reason why Ron DeSantis calls it the Parents' Rights Bill. Because he understood that politicians, little politicians and the mayors, the city councils, the school boards were overriding parents. They were giving the middle finger to parents all over America. Middle finger. We don't care about what you think. We don't care about how your grandmothers and grandfathers raised you. The older generation, I'm telling you, it is the new generation. The mothers, the older women are totally laid down. They're all like sardines right now. Anybody like sardines? Do anybody remember when you pop open a good can of sardines? I love sardines. I used to.
With grits.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, you pop open a good can of sardines. What do they have in common? They're all laying down.
Yeah.
So the older men, all of them are not old, but I like to say in particular, the impotent guys. The guys who can't get it up, who have no backbone, who is a little limp, a little weak, maybe being controlled by the woman. And the woman she can outrightly control him. Why? Because she has already caught him wearing her tampons. She has already heard him make a stance on how their son should be wearing tampons. So she can control him.
Can I
She's
say
telling him,
something?
she's telling him, you're going to vote for Kamala. You're going to vote for Tim Walz. We don't need tampons in elementary boys' bathrooms just in Minnesota. Look at what Florida is doing. Florida is giving rights to parents. Look at what Georgia is doing. Look at what Texas is doing. We don't like what what's the governor name in Texas? Adams? Greg? I forgot. Greg. We don't like what Texas is doing. I'm not positive on his name. So I want to strike that. That way, Kelly Benjamin, he'll look at this whole hour presentation and Greg Abbott, and then say, "Oh yeah, but you were wrong about the governor in Texas. You didn't even know his name. So what?" The point is, wives see weak husbands who are talking about this, and they say, "I got him. I knew I've been missing pads, but now I'm going to use it to my advantage, and you're going to vote the way I tell you to vote. You're going to advocate to make this law in Minnesota go nationwide. You're going to have tampons all over American little boys' bathrooms, and you don't even have to tell them what it means. Let them think it's just toilet paper, because we all understand these kids don't know what it means. If they're in the hood, they do. I'm going to tell you that straight up. If they are in the hood, these boys know what it means. Even worse is Newsom from California. Ah, man, Jonathan, we can have that discussion. You know what, Jonathan, I'm going to tell you something. I agree with it. And at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. I do agree with you on Newsom is bad. Newsom is horrible. But I just don't know, man. Jonathan, this guy actually put it in the law. Newsom horrible on so many different things. He's opened up the door. He's down. I understand that you can actually walk around in broad daylight in some parts of California where Kamala Harris is from, where Kamala Harris was Attorney General, where Kamala Harris was a senator, and now you look at California and men can walk around with their thing out, especially if they call themselves changing their gender. Their thing can be out as long as it is not erect. What? Are you kidding me? Don't let it turn into a Woody and you're okay. This is what you see, and all you have to do is look on some of these weenie popping videos that are going on, and then you can hear protesters go up to the cops and say, "Hey, arrest this guy," and they say, "No, no, no, no. Long as it's not this way or that way." So these are facts. Or let me back up and say this. Or these cops are being told to say that to civilians who don't know any better. So I want to make sure I be fair, because I don't know that that is law, but I know for a fact we can hear cops explain this on videos as a reason as to why they are doing this in public. This is public. This is nudity. This is obscene gestures. They should be arrested. And you can hear the cops explain why this is not an arresting situation. And by the way, if you get too close to protest that weenie popping, you will be arrested. How about that? If anybody
Oh,
remembers
that's crazy.
the California, we all remember the California pastor who went to one of those protests, stood 100 feet away and started praying and got arrested. That was like 2 years ago, before it got so deep. But I agree, Newsom is bad. But when I think about somebody writing it as a mandate, Jonathan, if he's mandated that, if he has mandated that, because I'm almost sure that every other thing that Newsom has done, Tim is he with it. But Tim actually put one step further and said, "Okay, okay, Gavin Newsom, I see what you're doing. I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna do you one better and see if you could top this. I'm gonna mandate that we put tampons in all of the boys' bathroom starting from elementary school." Even Gavin Newsom said, "Damn, are you drinking, Tim? Is this gonna be another? Are we gonna have to see another mug shot?" Even Gavin Newsom is finding this one to be hard to top. So Gavin Newsom sitting down saying, "I don't know if I could top this one. This guy has done some crazy stuff." But nevertheless, who knows? Even who knows where Gavin Newsom might go after this? He might have to push and you know, top it some kind of way. But the only way he can top that is do it and say make a law to where he's gonna hire only a certain type of teachers or whatever. But I'm not gonna speak in what ifs and stuff. But you made a good point, Jonathan. I just happen to think Tim might be a little bit worse. Both are bad. Can both be worse? Is that proper language? Both are worsest. Both are worser, getting worser and worser and worser. As the words of Cardi B. Cardi B, they getting worser and worser. Who's gonna end up being the worser? Who's gonna end up being the worstest of the worserers? I don't know. They are racing to be the worstest. They are racing, and it's crazy because in the race, they are using our children, our children, our children, and only the people in a certain tax bracket or make a certain amount of money, like the crisis pimps, as like Kelly Benjamin, who get paid from the government to pay other people to do other little things. Or that's what he used to do. I don't know what he does now. Obviously, he advocates for tampons in bathrooms, and he's probably going to be a big advocate for that to happen soon as Ron DeSantis is gone. That's why I tell people in Florida, wake up. Don't think that you're safe. When you hear these stories, stop thinking it's a joke and saying to yourself, it ain't happening in Florida, so we ain't got to worry about it. No, it's not happening because Ron DeSantis is in the way. As soon as Ron DeSantis is gone, you better learn it's not Kamala Harris. It's a Democrat blue agenda. That's all it is. That's what it is. That's it. That's all. Solo, single, nor more, nor less.
out to the team and I said, what are the odds that I can speak on Saturday? And they said yes. And I made that request on a Wednesday night. And nobody, you know, told me what to say. Nobody said, make sure you do this. Nobody made any edits to my speech. They literally let me write it out. I submitted and said, this is what I'd like to say. They said, all right, try to keep it under 5 minutes. That's probably the only rule that I broke, but I don't think anybody was upset about it.
You're very active in politics, obviously. Can you tell us how you got involved and why?
Yes, so I actually moved to Atlanta, Georgia from Las Vegas, Nevada. And just knowing, or not knowing, but observing the starking differences in the quality of education that I saw some of the students receiving, looking at development, specifically urban development, infrastructure, and how people are complaining about the roads and
Quality of education. That's key. She moved from Vegas to Atlanta, Georgia, and noticed the quality of education was totally different. Southern state, Western state. Yeah. Eh, you know, I didn't say it, she said it.
even now, I've been here 10 years and people are still complaining about the same roads. I just thought, wow, there must be a way to do something about this other than complaining about it. And my senior year of high school is actually when I decided to change my major from pre-law to political science, because I knew then that I could really make change being in government. Before, I thought that I could make change defending, you know, the defenseless. But I'm like, wow, if I create laws that could help them before they ever, you know, need to be in a courtroom, I think that would be better. And I was actually picked up by Miss Vivian Childs and Janelle King. Way back in 2017, Janelle King was working with the GAGOP at the time, let me know that internships were available. I decided to go ahead and take one up. I learned a lot. I met some amazing people, and I've just been doing the work ever since then.
So you're the organizer in Fulton County, Georgia for America First Works.
Yes.
Tell us what that is and the affiliation with the Trump campaign.
So as you know, the Trump campaign has shouted out America First Works, America First Policy Institute, the entire America First family tree. We're a big, I guess, I wouldn't say think tank, but a lot of the outsourcing in regards to the engagement, the outreach, the mobilization of voters and volunteers would all come through America First. We also do a lot of events and things like that. So my role specifically would be to throw events, to encourage people to not just pay attention to the election, but get involved with the campaign, to encourage their friends to vote, to come up with a voting plan on election day or during early voting, all of those things. So at America First Works specifically, I am in charge of volunteer recruitment, pro-life enthusiasts. It would come from donors.
And why do you personally support former President Trump?
I personally support President Trump due to my personal beliefs. So as a former foster child.
Kelly Benjamin, I hope you're listening. Hey, what's up? Deeks, by the way. Thank you for joining, man. Like and subscribe, please. I appreciate your support. Kelly Benjamin, and for anybody that thinks like Kelly Benjamin, telling black people they are programmed if they think on their own, why don't you just listen to this and understand that some people have their own convictions and some people have a reason outside of you having hurt feelings about a guy tweeting too much, why they are going a certain way.
I really love family, and I don't think that just because things didn't work out with my birth parents, that meant that I didn't deserve to be here. So that turned me kind of into a pro-lifer. I'm not the type to demonize people for the decisions that they decide to make, but me personally, if I'm going to vote for my personal views, I'm going to align myself with a pro-life candidate. Additionally, I am a mother now myself, so I do pay a lot of attention to the education that my child is receiving. And again, when I moved out here, I noticed the differences between the standards of education in Nevada and the standards of education out here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I didn't like how I came here and I felt like Not necessarily that I was smarter than everybody else, but I just felt like I was equipped with a better education than a lot of other people. And I don't know whether that be the allocation of resources. I don't know if it had something to do with property taxes. I don't know if maybe I just got lucky and had amazing teachers all throughout my life. But as a mother now, I think it's very important that parents have a say-so in their child's education and that parents can remain hands-on. For instance, I don't believe that there's 53 genders, and I refuse to allow my child to sit in a classroom in which they're going to tell her that that is what is true, and she will be tested on said thing and possibly failed if I tell her that there's only 2 genders and I don't care what the teacher says. Lastly, as a single mother, as a woman who, I think I'm gorgeous. So just being able to protect myself, having my Second Amendment rights protected regardless. I do not want to live in a world in which your personal firearms are expected to be surrendered, because in a world like that, the only people who have guns are criminals and law enforcement. So if someone were to break into my home, which actually has happened to me recently, I wouldn't be able to protect myself. And whoever was breaking into my home would also know that. And the person breaking into my home would probably be equipped with a weapon, because just like drugs, if people want something that's illegal, they're going to get it. And so those are my 3 main reasons. Additionally, I have a brother that was formerly incarcerated, so he is now a returning citizen. And I think it's unfair that migrants can commit a crime by illegally migrating over here, and they get rewarded with the same resources that my brother would be turned down for. So my brother cannot get food stamps. My brother cannot apply for a luxury apartment. My brother cannot just go out for a corporate job without knowing somebody who knows somebody. Yet a migrant can come over here illegally and be awarded food stamps, be awarded housing assistance, be granted the opportunity to pursue a higher education, all of these things. Yet my brother, who was born here, bred here, when he worked, paid taxes here, he can't get those things, but a migrant can. So when I look specifically at policy and my personal experience, everything that I would want aligns with what I see on the Trump side.
All right. And if you'd like to join our conversation with...
Yeah. Yeah, Kelly Benjamin. You don't even know what side you're on. Those are the people you are not actually speaking for, Mr. Benjamin. So you're against actual citizens, but you support actual criminals. In other words, illegal aliens. And you're mad at black people who would actually talk about an experience, or any other white person that would actually agree. Like I said, it's not just blacks who realize it as lunacy. A lot of Caucasians are aligning, not really aligning. It's not like they're on our side. Look at my friend Jonathan. He's not on here because he's on my side. He's on here because he's a friend of mine. But at the same time, if I didn't have this stance, he still would. He understands that this is crazy. As a guy all by himself, he doesn't need to be standing by black people to say that. This is his own mind because he's a man. I'm not by Ariel. That's her mind, a black woman. So, yeah, some people can think on their own. They will think on their own. I don't know what Deeks is about, but they're up here supporting. I appreciate it. If they have a different comment, they can bring it to the feed. I'm totally open to other people having their own train of thought, mind of thought, and their own opinions. But it is totally crazy. And a lot of these attacks come from people that have my skin color. But I think it's really hypocritical when it comes from some troll that actually makes a living off of these crises and has actually a history of coming to me to say, hey, I got this cause. I have this fight going, and I've seen your work, and I would like you to join me. And I agreed with his cause. And so I did. And I seen that he was able to mobilize thousands of people. Thousands. And that's scary. That's scary. But I'm betting you this. The thousands that he was able to mobilize behind those things would be totally different when you look at those same people and say, hey, now let's fight to have tampons available to 6-year olds and 7-year olds in elementary school in their bathroom. Not they can go to the principal and get one. I mean, it's just crazy. This guy even complained about me talking about the two men. He actually went on my feed to tell me the gender of one of the men who fought for the gold medal in women's boxing was born a woman. Well, message in case you missed it. That is not what the report from the Olympics said. And that is not the report from the news all over America. So you can have it any way you want to have it, my brother. The bottom line is he failed his test on testosterone. And where were you when the black girl who blew out everybody in track and field and won the gold medal, she was from Africa, if anybody remember that, and they took her gold medal because they said she had too much testosterone.
Mm.
So Kelly Benjamin is a hypocrite. A real live living hypocrite. And we have a lot of those, so that's nothing. I'm saying nothing major when I say that. But there was once a black girl who blew out the whole field in track and field. I think not only in the 100, but I want to say the 200, but I could be wrong, but definitely the 100. And because she beat the whole field, including a lot of Kelly Benjamin's people, you know, oh, they took that medal, took it right out of her hands. Not right out of her hands, but they took it in front of the world and let us all know that, yes, she's a woman. She is a woman, but she has too much testosterone. So we're going to qualify her as something else. But now all of a sudden we see a man that failed the test by having too much testosterone, and you can also, by the way, see that same guy on other platforms. Once you start looking into the research, it's a guy. This guy pretty jacked, athletic. I seen him, and so yeah, they said he failed. They said he's a man. The other guy he fought for the gold medal was. So you have two men. You have two people who have been said to fail their gender test or failed their testosterone levels and this and that, labeled to be men, fighting for the women's gold. And he's getting on my feed complaining that I said something about it. These people are sick. Yeah. And so I just really, 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 Ariel, let me see.
Yeah.
You said you didn't have sons, but you said you were a mother. So,
Yes, I
as a
am.
mother of a daughter, I I, I hope I'm not offending you by saying
Oh
a
no, she a daughter, she a girl.
daughter. So, as a mother with a daughter, how do you feel knowing that the chances of your daughter, the opportunities and the lane, the choices of athletics that you can put your daughter in has now been dwindled down? Has now will only come She can only compete in certain things now because the rest of these things have been infiltrated by men, and not just infiltrated but taken over. How would you feel knowing now that your daughter can only compete in certain things, or if she go into too many other things when it comes to sports in school, she would have to compete against a man? Wrestling in some areas, volleyball, football in a lot of areas, basketball, track and field, definitely. I have it in my video. If anybody haven't seen my video, Ballot to America, you can see in the background where some man pretending to be a woman beats the field by almost 100 yards. If you're the best woman in your state, if you qualified to beat 5,000 women or 1,000 women out of your state, and you're coming out of your state as the best woman, I'm the best, you're the best female athlete in high school or in college. And then you have to go compete into the nationals. And you're running against some person that's calling themselves a woman too, and then they beat you by 100 yards. How do you feel? Where do you go from there? Are you still athletic? Are you still going to have that same effort, drive? Are you? No. That can be crushing. Just like the girl Riley. Riley, is it Riley Gaines? I don't know that she's not competing anymore, but after getting beat in the pool by a man, and this man crushed her record, and she was one of the best swimmers in college in America. You didn't see her at in the Olympics, which she very well could have been had her drive and inspiration had not been crushed by some guy swimming past her record like bye bye, toodaloo. These records that these men are breaking, the records that they're putting up will never be broke, not by a real natural woman. To beat some of these guys, you need Flojo and Jackie Joyner. Where's Flojo? Flojo might beat some of these people. I think it's sad. So I never gave you a chance to answer. As a mother of a daughter, what would you? I mean, how do you feel about it? Your levels and choices of competition aren't the same as yours was if you would have had to compete when you were in school. You didn't. That wasn't even a thought, was it?
No, I don't even think the elemental P was even out when I was in school. So it just like it sucks. It really does with, the men and women's sports and stuff like that. Because it's like when my child, God forbid that it, keeps going on in the future, but it sucks because that just allows little girls to kind of lose their hope and, coming home to tell their parents or their grandparents or whoever is at home, you know, to say, oh, I almost won, but I got beat by a boy today in whatever sport they're in. You know what I mean? So it's just like when it's like girls, competing against other girls instead of boys, aka wannabe girls, it kind of like has them to lose their hope or their faith in saying, okay, well, we can't always win every single time. But once that girl actually knows that, oh, well, that's a boy, so of course, we're going to lose against him or whatever, it's just, I definitely wouldn't want to see that with my child, and I mean, I can't speak for all mothers because some mothers are probably cool with that or whatever, but I'm not cool with it. Like at all. Like I'm not cool with the fact that, like I wanted to say earlier, with the whole tampon situation or whatever, because like you said, like, they're bringing it in so early, like in elementary school. The average when it comes to girls is it's not normal for it to even start or happen while they're in elementary school. You know what I mean? It normally happens when it's in middle school. And so um it's just like, when you think about it, it's like where is a boy gonna even put a tampon?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No. great comment, and you're exactly right. That's what I thought about. Are they actually telling these guys basically in a low key kind of way? Yeah, go ahead and I mean, pee in your pants. I don't know. That's the only way something's, there's some. Anyway, great comment. I agree with you 100%. I think it's sad. I think it's confusing. And like I said, in the hood, a lot of times these little boys, they learn a lot of stuff a lot earlier. They're going to know. And it is really, and not only that about the women, but don't forget, these women found themselves having to go into their sports locker rooms, the dressing rooms, and in a lot of occasions, we've heard about it where these men are in the girls' locker rooms, the girls' dressing rooms, and they're erect. They're watching these girls. So I mean, if you're that young lady, you're not even comfortable with this anymore. That's enough to quit. I'm not going through this. Yeah, I want to still do it, but I'm not going in there knowing he's in there and he's not doing anything but watching. I don't feel comfortable undressing and dressing in front of this guy. So yeah, I know how to get around that, but is it the same? We're starting to see where some of them are not even competing the same. It's crazy. It's lunacy. It's really, really sad. Um, I'm gonna get out of here in a really, really quick moment. Uh, I just really, really wanted to show some examples of how far this has gotten. By the way, if you can see my background, this is some of the things that Harris is actually on record supporting. Considering death row inmates to vote, supporting elimination of private health insurance. Why would she do that? We all know why. We all know why. And this is a poll by independent Biden voters and independents and Democrats. Um, abolishing ICE, named the most liberal senator. We all know that. Co-sponsored the Green New Deal. As a matter of fact, Kamala Harris was the tiebreaker. In other words, when she had a chance to stand up and make one choice, tie. It was a tie in the Senate, tie with the House. The vice president gets the break the tie with her vote on anything. If it's a tie, they go to the VP. So, in other words, more than once, Kamala Harris has had the most power in America. She's been in the position to say it's all on me. And both times she sided with whatever the Democrats were doing. And in this occasion, one of them was the Green New Deal. Ironically, that was the same one that was putting 88,000 new IRS agents under payroll to go after people with gigs, people with jobs like the little jobs of America that actually are the backbone of America. The taxis, the Ubers, the people that received tips, the hairdressers, the barbers, so forth and so on. The yard cutters who might get a tip. But I think more officially they mean official tips that can be recognized and documented. The government wants to hand it. They want a piece of that. And what's her name again? Kamala Harris wants to make sure they get a piece. But now she's flip-flopped because she know people who supports anybody that supports tampons in little boys' bathroom, they are a flipper. In the closet. And so they know once you're a flipper, you are ready to flip at all times. So these flippers are ready to be flipped over, flipped around, flipped through and through. Just freakish. These people are just freakish. Put some tampons around little boys, freakish. So once they recognize you as a flipper, they flip you. And so she's flipping on her stance, and now she's on there talking about no tax on tips. All she's doing is saying whatever Trump says. That's her strategy now. Whatever Trump says, I'm gonna say. So now she's screaming no tax on tips. That is almost saying the same thing that Kelly Benjamin is saying. Black people are stupid. All you have to do is say it loud enough, and they'll believe you. Black people can't think on their own. So even though she has made the tie break on putting more IRS agents to go after those people and make sure tax was on tips, now she's actually standing up at rallies saying, I'm not going to tax tips, promising on day one, I'm going to do this. By the way, day one started over 3 years ago, Kamala. Message. Your day one started a long time ago. And you haven't done anything, including talk to the black community. Also, everyone trying to say Kamala is who we need to vote for, but she didn't earn her position. It was given. Ooh, spicy. I'm just put that up there for everybody else to read, just in case they want to come back and read it. I'm going to read it again. Blaze your mama, 91. Also, everyone trying to say Kamala is who we need to vote for, but she didn't earn her position. That almost sounds like when they tell us Trump's going to take away your right to vote. What Blaze Your Mama is trying to remind liberals is that your right to vote was taken from you. One man got 14 million votes, and nobody to this day has ever voted for her. But yet and still, as soon as he got those 14 million votes, they turned around and said, here you go, Kamala, I'm going to hand these to you. And now what they voted for me to be, I'm going to coronate it to you. Nobody voted for her. She was given. It was given. She became the DEI because that's what Biden promised, and that's what he wanted. She hasn't proven herself. That's what Blasian Mama says. I happen to agree with that. That is a black woman, has a little Blasian. That's a person who actually is proud of her heritage. Blasian. Most of the time we hear that. That means black and Asian. Somebody who's not running from being black. I wonder if she just changed that name to Blasian yesterday. I don't think so. I'm quite familiar with her. She comes up a lot. She's a supporter. So she's been blazing for a while. And that's just to say she's been embracing who she is. Kamala Harris does not do that. I have videos with her talking about nothing but her Indian heritage, her Indian food and dishes, and her Indian this and that. And I think it's awesome. I actually am on record saying if she would embrace that part of her family, that revolutionary part, that struggle part, people would accept her more. But she was so busy running from being black, running from being a part of the struggle, that she can't even recognize it anymore. There are also testimonies all over the internet by black men. I know what Kamala Harris has done for black people, as I've gone on record to say. Now that I've done the research and have seen these few people that has been convicted by Kamala, or not actually by her, but she doesn't have to actually try the case if she's the head DA, if she's the prosecutor. You pick little prosecutors to do your dirty work, to do your little work. And so she was the one in charge of a lot. She was the one overseeing a lot of investigations. She was the man, so to speak. That has nothing to do, no pun on the man pants, the pantsuits that are worn 24 hours a day. And so, man, another great one is Angela Stanton King. She tells it like it is, and I just got to play a few clips from her before I get out of here, just to let Kelly, tampon Kelly Benjamin, understand and hear one more time that it's not just me, and it's not just black men, but if you're telling black people all over America that they don't have minds of their own, I need you to understand that they do. And you can take your crisis pimp techniques somewhere else, my friend. You're actually an embarrassment, you know, and I feel sorry for your children. Hopefully one day you have to look them in the face and actually explain why you couldn't fight for them, why you were so weak that you would actually tell your son or a potential son that he can be a potential daughter, which is a lie, and you would tell your daughter that she could be a potential boy, which is another lie. That's another form of birth control. This guy is a walking abortionist. That's what he is. Angela Stanton.
Such thing as permanent decisions when it comes to children. That's why we don't allow them to get tattoos. We don't allow them to drink. We don't allow them to do so many things until they come to an age of maturity. But if you do have a young son and he does have a bunch of sisters or girl cousins and you believe that he's feminine because he likes girly things, it could very well just be a phase. And so imagine thinking, oh, he's really supposed to be a girl and giving him puberty blockers. And then when he hits 15 or 16, he knows that he's a man and wants to start a family. And then now he got a little shrimp because his penis didn't grow. So, I mean, are we helping our children? Are we damaging them? I mean, even our little girls, when it comes to this whole, gender ideology movement. And let's also mention that this is a Democrat platform, okay? This is what the Democrat Party.
This is what Kelly Benjamin wants. Go ahead. I'm just going to finish your statement, Angela. Even though I'm going to let you finish, thank you for doing your work, Angela. Stan King. This is the platform of the Democrat Party. I don't understand how others can't see it. And then they will turn around and tell you, as a black person, don't dare start trying to think on your own. It's a mistake. We need to control you. That is the Kelly Benjamin thought.
Represents. I've never in my life seen so many people willing to vote for their own destruction, their own genocide, and the sexuality and abortion of their own children. But even when it comes to little girls, that have to grow up and be women and carry life one day. We just saw not too long ago all over the news that there was a shortage of baby milk, right? I don't know if you guys remember, there was a shortage of baby milk. Well, guess what? Every animal just about on this planet feeds their baby from their breast, except us as humans. That's why we have breasts, to feed our babies. So we are looking at a movement, at an agenda that is telling our young girls to remove their breasts before they even become women. Like, we're not looking at the attack on the lifeline. And that's a problem.
I want to speak about there's not enough, or it's not loud enough, men who want the child, but women go ahead and do the abortion behind their back. There's no legal thing to go for that, or?
Well, that's one of the things that I want to advocate for. I mean, I'm tired of crying about abortion. Black women feel as though it's their choice and they want to be liberated by having a choice to execute the very black life that they create. So guess what? I think I need to take a different approach. And this approach is going to be to align with men to make sure that they have a voice and make sure that they have fathers' rights. Everybody is screaming about equality. And as I've said before, if the mother doesn't want the baby, she can go kill the baby, be done with the baby, be looked at as some type of hero or some type of strong woman. But if a man doesn't want the baby, he's labeled a deadbeat, dragged back and forth to court for 18 years. He's mandated by the law in the state to take care of a child that he doesn't want, but the mother gets to abort. And then we don't even give a father the chance to say, I want to keep this child. I helped create this child, because everyone on this earth has a mother and father. All right, let's just be clear. Every life that has been created, every human life that has been created has come from a male and a female. So we're also, when we're supporting the Democrat Party, supporting agendas that do not align with what we know to be normal, and we don't have common sense. Two men cannot make a baby, two women cannot make a baby. This is not hate speech. We are talking just facts. So we are watching platforms, and supporting platforms that destroy the nuclear family.
Kelly Benjamin.
And at the end of the day, all of us are here because of a heterosexual man and a woman.
I've heard of so many instances where men have clearly stated they do not want to have children, right? Now, I understand on their end, they dropped the ball in regards to pullout game was probably a little weak, or they didn't use a condom or something, but they clearly stated they did not want to have a child. And the woman went forth and had the child, right? Now, it's a tricky situation. Like, how would you mediate something like that?
Well, that goes both ways. I mean, you got to put your big boy drawers on and your big girl panties on. If you're out here having sex, we have sex for pleasure, but sex is actually for reproduction. Okay? That's why animals have sex. Like, it's all about reproduction. It's all about the cycle of life. So we're all adults, right? We're not irresponsible, sex fiends here, okay? Nymphos that don't know that when you have, unprotected sex, that you can create a life. So I think the answer is, and how we mediate this situation is we have to make it fair. The kid is here now, right? So once the kid is here, everybody's like, oh, we don't want the kid, send it back. That's what abortion is, right? After the kid is already here, oh, we don't want the kid, send it back. Listen, pregnancy prevention is a real thing, okay? If we put as much funding into pregnancy prevention as we put into abortion, abortion would literally go out of business. There are several ways that I know that you can enjoy sex without impregnating someone.
We spoke to Nuri Muhammad. Actually, Darren was there.
That's enough on that. You can look up Angela Stan King. She has so much to say, and I'm definitely appreciative of her work. I love how she just said that there is a way to, if you put the money in prevention that you're putting behind abortion, it would actually put abortion out of business. She realizes this is a big business. I just wish my sisters would realize it all together, all the same. All right, I'm gonna get out of here in a minute. I want to read a couple of comments. I want to thank God for another day, a beautiful day. I want to thank all of the supporters that have been here this morning, and we'll see this later on. Make sure you like and subscribe. But more than anything, like I said, I mentioned a few guys, the LRF family, the Van. The revolutionary perspective. Oh, wait, that's me. I meant to say a righteous perspective, conservative perspective, so many different other people, Anton, and just other black leaders or black content creators who are definitely in the loop of good information, and it's worth giving a follow if you wanted to be aware without being dumbed down and blinded by the fake news media, because they are doing a great job of letting you see exactly what they want you to see. They are doing a great job reinventing Kamala Harris. And by the way, they are reinventing her back to the black community. And as I always say, they get these same token Jethros, these same token people who are millionaires to get up and tell you not to listen to millionaires. In other words, the Steve Harveys of the world. Now he's coming out saying something. Oh, black people always asking for something. Stop asking for something. What is this fool talking about? All the strawberry letters he read and downgraded black men on, and now he can't even keep his own wife together, his own life, his own marriages. But he can tell us what we need to be doing. The Ricky Smileys getting on talking about blocking every man that's not going with Kamala. Oh, I'm so tired of these black people. The people who don't know a damn thing. You could tell they haven't done their research. They won't say nothing. It is so sad. And I get tired of seeing these people. Anton just did a podcast that lasted over 3 hours. And he set up and gave women and men the opportunity. People, he didn't want anybody on there who was with him, basically. He wanted anybody on here who had a different opinion to come out, hash your opinions out, and let's talk about it. And I watched this guy for 3 hours give everybody opportunity. Oh, no. Don't tell me why you don't like Trump. Tell me why you like Kamala. And not one person could give this man a real reason. I'm voting for Kamala because I don't like, and they don't understand. Every time they opened their mouth, they were slipping. And Anton just sat back like this. And he gave them ample time. And it's crazy. And the reason is, I say this, is because these people sound and look stupid. You know why? Because you can go to Kamala Harris's website and see the exact thing. That's why he asked them. That's why Anton be setting them up, just waiting. Just give me a policy. And some of them are so foolish, they make up policies. Well, how you gonna make up a policy that Kamala Harris don't have herself? I mean, it's idiotic to see people fight for her by putting things in her mouth. Don't tell me a policy is what she stands up on the platform or the podium and says at a rally. That's not policy. She's telling you that at a rally because she can. Talking is not policy. She won't put that policy up on her website because she understands I need to lie to black people. If I put my policy down, I can no longer stand up in front of people and tell lies and slap my people down to get their vote. Her policies is going to be contrary to anything most black people stand on. Fact, plain and simple. And every time one of those people, whether it was the guy from the Navy, whether it was I changed my mind by saying not one. There were some very, very sisters on that feed that I was glad to hear. So there were some sisters on that panel with him that were totally with it. Want the smoke. As Chris Brown said, welcome all the smoke. When we take this stance, we welcome all the smoke. That's what you have to be willing to do. Welcome all the smoke. Because if you stand up for yourself and stand against that woke, by the way, this idiot who comes on The View, who's part of The View, who told a white man, what's this white guy name that she was talking to? Maher. By the way, Maher is great. He's going to always speak his mind. He's a liberal, but he's always speak his mind. He's not flip-floppy. They don't like him because sometimes they expect him to say what they want him to say, and he says, wait a minute. And so Sunny Hostin, sat him down and says, people, you made a statement about woke culture. People don't understand that woke is a word that black people have used forever in our culture and in our language. And she's a lie. But she could get away with that because she's talking to a white man that's not in black culture. So he couldn't argue with her about that. But I can. Woke ain't been in our culture. We've been saying for years, decades, we've been saying, no, you sleep. Am I right, Ariel? Anybody
Yes,
else?
you
That's
are
what
right.
it was. You sleep. Man, Joker, you sleep. Before all of this stuff came out, you was sleep. Ain't no woke. All this woke culture. That's what they tried to say to make you feel like you wasn't sleep. So they kind of flipped the word. The Democratic Party has done nothing but taken words that culturally belonged and meant different things, and now they've taken them to make them mean something else. So if you say these words that you used to say, oh, somehow you are demonizing people that are totally against God, in communities, God in schools, God actually even in churches. They don't want God nowhere in America now. But by the way, let's respect this as a godly nation. It's crazy. Christian nation, but I say godly nation in respect to other beliefs and religions as well. You can't just claim it's a Christian nation when the Christians are the ones walking around saying, I accept everything that the Democrats are talking about. And most of the things that the Democrats are talking about are contrary. I won't say most of them, but the major ones are very contrary to God, what the word says. And that is a fact, my friends. That is a fact. Uh, Ariel, I appreciate you for staying on to the end. Do you have anything you'd like to say before you get out of here? I do want to read this one comment. Blaze Your Mama 91. Angela is speaking true facts. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put this up. Angela is speaking true facts. And if no one can understand what she's saying, then all hope is lost within them. Like Michaela said, there are only two genders as well. Period. And I like that she said it. And I remember you saying that before I played that clip, which is why I chose that clip. And ironically, she said 53. So now we understand, and she wasn't just throwing that. For anybody who don't understand what made her say 53, look it up. That is what the Democrats are actually pushing. They are saying there is no limit to the genders. That is why you have people identifying as cats, as birds, as parrots. But hey, you as a black person, don't you dare walk in the bank and identify as the bank manager and ask for that money. Don't you dare identify as a white man and go and think your credit is going to be better than it is. Don't you dare identify as anything else that would say that you deserve. I mean, as a matter of fact, why don't we all just go identify as migrants and see if we could get that $20,000 credit that every other migrant seems to be getting? Why don't we identify as migrants and see if we can go and get that money that the man who's using to buy that girl's food truck has? Why don't we identify as migrants to go and get a food stamp card where we could just leave a receipt? Man, that sounds like a whole lot of crabs. That sounds like a bunch of snow crabs.
Yeah.
You like that, huh? I seen a big
Yeah.
smile. Yeah, man, that's a whole bunch of fools. That's a whole bunch of snow crabs. So my
Yeah.
black people in the hoods, wherever you may be, if we think that it is that easy, we should just go identify as migrants. By the way, Kamala Harris want to kill ISIS. I mean, not ISIS, but ICE. She wants to get rid of all of these places where they detain what they're calling illegal, what they're calling migrants. We'll call them illegal aliens for the sake of the feed. Yeah, sanctuary cities give sanctuary to migrants that commit crimes. Black people have been in America, and we needed sanctuary from white people and white politicians and laws. There is no sanctuary. The sanctuary for us is do right. Don't break the law. Be a man of God. Be a woman of God. Work, earn your way. It's really that simple. But for them, it's, hey, you just are a SA'd somebody, or the R worded somebody, or you just unalived somebody, or you just mugged somebody. Run over there to Detroit, or run over here to New York, or run up there with Timmy. You might see tampons in every boy's bathroom, but you'll be safe. Run out there to California. Run where there are any sanctuary cities, and you are supposed to be safe no matter what you have done. By the way, we just heard Michaela say, my brother just got out of prison. He can't get any of this stuff. But at one time, before he went to prison, he was a taxpayer. And he can't even get stamps. And we're looking at migrants or illegal aliens walking around with food stamps with Jack on them, Lucci, cheese, as we call it. They can walk around and just meet the average guy on the block and say, hey, by the way, I got a food stamp card with $13,000. Do you happen to have $5,000 in your pocket? I'll give you this. Even trade. Come on, man. Come on, man. At no place does this happen. Angela speaking true facts. I just read that. I asked you, did you have one comment or a comment before we got out of here? And that still stands for you.
Um, no, because
Are
I
you,
was just
tell
thinking
me,
about, the
oh,
Kamala Harris
are you muted?
situation.
Oh, wait, sorry. Start over. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying that with the Kamala Harris, when you were talking about the Anton guy and with the Kamala Harris and stuff, like I don't know too many of her policies, but I do know that the fact that now all of a sudden she wants to promise all of the Americans, you know oh, we'll lower the inflation, and just childcare costs, just all this irrelevant stuff on her behalf. And the reason I say irrelevant on her behalf is because like the last 4 years you were vice president, so you were literally like under President Biden, and you had 4 years to prove to the Americans that you need now to help you become president, which I of course don't want her to be president, because the fact that you wasted 4 years to go by, and now you just want to try to prove us that you are that person. But it's like you haven't came out to any interviews, any rallies, any you know places to speak on what you have to prove to us, especially parents, single parents, um the grandmothers, the grandfathers, everybody that's taking care of children. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you don't have kids, so you don't care about if someone's going to abort their child or not. You know what I mean? Like, you're not married to a black man, a man of color, so you don't care about really anything. So,
Right.
you basically your base besides LMNOP and the map flag and all that type of stuff right there is based on people, or shall I say Americans, that don't care at all either about no one but themselves.
Right.
So that's just what I have for Kamala. I don't like her because she hasn't shown anything about anything. I'm not saying that I'm not voting for her because, of the fact that I'm independent, but the fact that it's like everything that you're doing is just preposterous, and that's just what I just wanted to leave with.
I appreciate that great comment. And I like, to be honest, the first thing that the speaker said out of her mouth, Ariel said out of her mouth, was, I think, the most important thing. And it shows and proves that, one, she's paying attention. But she said, I don't know her policies. And that's all I try to get people to understand. Don't make a stance for somebody who can't make it for themselves. The reason why, Ariel, you don't know her policies, because right now she has none. And the reason why she doesn't have any is because she understands that she needs to pivot at any time, no matter what city she goes in. When she's in front of the black crowd in Atlanta, in the black cities, the North Carolinas, the Philadelphias, um, wherever else. Definitely, I said Atlanta already. She probably won't come to Florida, knowing that Trump, has Florida on a lock and key. But all of these areas where black people are, heavily congregated, when she comes to those places, she's going to be speaking different. And she needs to be able to lie. She needs to be able to pivot. She needs to be able to say, on day one, I'm going to do this. That policy is going to say something different. Her policy is going to say stuff like, I believe that all people should be able to come here and get free health care. It's going to say something totally different, because the bigger amount of votes are not black people. They have let in 11, 12 million people. And we're a small percentage of the country. So her appeal on her policy will not be an appeal for black people. That is why she's reluctant to put it up there, because her policy, wait till it goes up. You'll see. You'll remember I said this. Her policy is not going to align with a poor black community of people looking for answers. They're looking for people to sit down. That is why they're telling Steve Harvey and the Tavitt, whatever this guy's Smiley name, the Charlemagne the boys, what Charlemagne Leonard. That is why they're telling all of these people to come out. I need you to preach down on the black community. I need you to preach down on them and make them feel bad, because I can't put my policies up that they're going to approve of. As a matter of fact, if you talk to them enough, they won't look for the policies. But when she puts them up there, I can guarantee you they're going to be contradictory to the things that Black America needs. No, we don't expect her to come in and just do something all for, for just, oh, I'm gonna only do this for black people. But it's ironic how, they can get up there and say that she's not supposed to do it, but they didn't say anything when she did certain direct rules and certain direct things, like Joe Biden, like Barack Obama. They never have a problem when they made rules directly for a direct culture of people, and none of those people were black. They were for Latinos, Hispanics, or I should say people coming from across the border, or how did you describe that? The LMNOP
Oh
community.
yeah, that's what
Um,
I said.
and so though they made direct rules, and none of those people complained. They complained. They didn't complain when the LBGT LMNOP community complained and said, "We need this." They gave it to them. You didn't hear Steve Harvey say a word. You didn't hear Smiley say a word. Another guy that puts on a dress. You know, this is crazy. This is crazy. Uh, and I think more than anything, I definitely don't want to. This ain't about attacking outright, but we start to really understand why some of these people continue to keep jobs with microphones, continue to be in positions to talk down on the black community as if they're talking to the black community. They're not talking to us. They're talking down on us. Listen to their voices. Go look at what Steve Harvey just said on his show. Stop asking for something. Telling black uh, economists, black consumers, black mothers and black fathers, black uncles, black children, black college students, telling everybody, stop asking for people that you vote for to do something for you. This coon sound, ain't that sad? That's sad. That's sad. That's a shame. That is so sad. But you know what? Remember, he's the one that also went to see Donald Trump to ask for something, to ask for Donald Trump to work with the black community. And now he's mad at us for asking for our elected people who we are going to vote for. What do you got for us? These millionaire blacks continue to tell black people, vote with your heart, not on substance. Don't vote on things that matter. Vote with skin color. And I'm going to end it with this. That pastor, I don't know his name, but we've seen him all over the internet. Let me find him real quick, too. I would love to end with him. Oh, man. That pastor all over the internet who talked about black people selling their souls. And when he said, basically, he said he saw two things when Obama put the colors on the White House. He said
Oh yeah,
black
that was
people were in
crazy.
love with color. One, they was in love with Obama, but he also said they're in love with color. So therefore, we were willing to bet and vote for just color. The color of we worship. That's what he kind of said. Worship. The color. We so caught up that a color can make us go against our children. Go against our, their futures. It's crazy. This is crazy, man. We got to get a grip on it, get out our feelings, and make the right choices and realize just because you, like the Kelly Benjamins of the world and the Joe Bidens of the world that tell black people stop trying to think on your own. That's what they literally said. If you work for did any work for this guy, Kelly Benjamin, I need you to see what he has said to me. If you have done any work for this guy, or you plan on doing some work for this guy, I need you to go onto my feed on Facebook and see what this white bigot has said to me. You know, simply by sharing information. He didn't even go on anything I said personally. He got mad for me sharing one of these young ladies' feeds. So in his mind, black women and black men need to shut up and be told what to do by white bigots like him. Understand, this man cares nothing about you. He only cares about the work that he can get you to do. And if you don't want to do that work, you are dumb and blind, and you have fell off your rocker. In other words, if you're not a puppet for him, you have no sense at all. Yeah, it's really sad. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I think I appreciate the few people that joined last on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share it. Share the awareness. Do the research. Look up this guy's mugshot, Tim Walls. Look up this guy's stance. Don't listen to anything he says if it's a speech that has happened over the last month or two. Go and find what he said 3 months ago and before that. Go and find out what he really means. Go and find out how passionate he is about letting your son in elementary school have access to sexual agendas and sexual thoughts and ideas and actual real physical tampons in their bathroom throughout all the state of Minnesota. And if he's doing it in Minnesota and she chose him to be her running mate, that means they will make this nationwide. In other words, they can go right to Florida and say, Governor DeSantis, we know you're against this, but I'm going to make this an executive order. They can bypass Governor DeSantis. They can bypass the governor of Texas. They can bypass the governor of Georgia. They can bypass the governor here, the governor there, the governor here, the governor there. And yeah, I understand that it can get to a real battle when it comes to the governor, but I think executive power means executive power. Why even have that type of battle? So be aware, understand that there are perverts like this in your community. And if there's a man, a grown man, advocating for something like that, you better watch him. You better be careful. It's sad that right now, today, we never had to ask. I remember staying the night at my cousin Rebel house, staying the night at friend's house, and this and that, friends staying the night over our house. Our moms and dads didn't have to ask of who their parents voted for. Oh, do you know who their parents support? Are their parents Republicans? You damn it, you better ask today. That sounds really sad. But today, you have to know the stance of the other parent. Because if you don't know if they're giving your child tampons, if your child go to their house and can have a different name like they can in school. By the way, the school teacher can't tell you. When this is all said and done, you gonna understand. The school teacher has to keep these secrets from you, or they will be charged, fired. Just look it up. Don't look it up in Florida. It's not there yet. But as it goes in California and some of these other blue areas, it will go nationwide, especially if we see the election go with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Protect your children, protect your own rights, protect parents' rights, protect the right to worship, protect the right to be people of God and to do right. To love thy neighbor as thou love thyself. God is good. I hope some words that I have said was beneficial to you, and I hope that it was pleasing in the sight of God. If I said anything wrong, thank you for the forgiveness. And that is the goodness and grace of God. And yeah, if you have that opportunity today to bless somebody with a morsel, with a dollar, blessings, Kiana Young. That's right, another mother. I'm trying to understand, Kiana, why are these men advocating for tampons in elementary boys' bathrooms? And I have a troll on my Facebook page. You probably saw the feed telling me how dumb and wrong we are as black people for being upset. So, in my opinion, that white man is telling other black people, stop trying to think for yourselves and let us tell you what to think, how to think, and when to think. And that is sad. It's very similar to when Joe Biden says, if you got a problem out of choosing me or Trump, then you're not black. And we get tired of white bigots like that. There's nothing wrong with being aware. There's nothing wrong with thinking on your own. And back to my thought, if you have that opportunity, bless somebody today with a word of inspiration, with a morsel to eat, maybe a quarter, whatever. Give that person a reason to look up and give God thanks. And sometimes once we give God thanks, it opens up inspiration to so
Ooh,
many other
I like
things.
that one.
Amen. I'm gonna end it with this. Michael Jackson, coming from Kiana Young on Facebook. Michael Jackson said it best. They don't really care about us. Dun, dun. All I really know that they don't really care about us. That was that funk, man. I think Michael got killed for some of those things. Michael got killed when he came out of sleep for saying what. Actually, what I just said. The Kelly Benjamins were upset with Michael. That's what those kind of people are telling us. Stop trying to think. Stop trying to tell other blacks what's going on. Stop being aware. Don't do anything unless we tell you it is okay. Great comment, Kiana Young. Michael Jackson said it best. They don't really care about us. They want to put in so many different forms of population control. By the way, look it up on YouTube or Google. When Kamala Harris said herself, we have to. Sometimes she do so much word salads that we don't understand. It could have been a word salad. But in this word salad, she 100% definitely said, when we when we finish turning down the population or depopulating, you know what that means, right? We understand what that means. That means she is saying the same thing as Bill Gates. We got to kill some of these people and make less people in the world. How are we going to do that? Hey, if you haven't noticed, there's another virus out there, a virus that Bill Gates told us was coming. By the way, how is Bill Gates being the one to get all of these different vaccines for every virus that comes out? And he always warns us before the virus comes. And look, man, this is crazy. We better wake up. We better stop being informed by fake news that pays us to be informed. I mean, that pays them to inform us, and be diligent about doing our research. Pray before you do it. Pray before you even listen to somebody for discernment, and you'll understand if you're listening to somebody that's worthy or not. God will give you that understanding. God will give you that feeling. God will let you know, not for me, another evil, another demon, another person pushing an evil agenda, or sounds like credible information. Let me look it up. Let me do the research. Uh, yeah, I think it's a logical thing to do. That's called fighting for your children. It's sad to see the older people who have laid down, and I'm going to end it like I started it. It is the older people who have laid down on the younger generation. They're taking stances now that their mothers and fathers would be ashamed of, and they would have never spoke like that. And they are not giving their children and grandchildren and the future children the same chances that they had and that they gave me and that they gave some of us. Thank you. Thank you. That's right. King, keep doing what you're doing. Some are listening. Unity. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. The same opportunities. That's all. That's all. For the Ariel Youngs and her daughter. For the Deja. Even though my brother said he didn't have kids, for his kids, or for his sister's kids, or for everybody kids, to have a fair chance, to have a fair shot, to not hear that you can't compete in this because you would have to compete against boys as well. That's all, man. Let these kids make these life-changing decisions as adults. Let them make these decisions as grown people, not as kids who was manipulated at an age where our minds can change, like over which color is prettier, over which toy looks the best, over which cartoon is the funniest. Their minds change every day. Dora one day, you know, Veggie Tales. I'm showing my age a little bit. They might not be the new cartoons of the day, but you get the point. Transformers, all of those different programs that all of those kids can love every other day. And if it's good enough, Paw Patrol, I don't even like the other one no more because Paw Patrol's so good. Oh, wait a minute, this one is good. Wait a minute, this one is good. Kids change their minds. Why give them all life-changing decisions while they're babies? You know why? You heard Angela Stanton say it. Once they start that hormone blocker, it's done. Because that man grows up and starts to understand, wait a minute, I supposed to be looking at Ariel. I supposed to be looking at a Kiana or Deja or this girl over here, this girl up the road. I supposed to be doing what some of my homies doing, trying to get me some. But for some reason, I hear them talking about, getting on hard, and I can't. Why is my thing not growing? Why am I my chest starting to hang down like my sisters? Why am I being messed up? It's because the things that you allowed them to start as children. And at that point, no matter what his decision is about, okay, I understand what it is to be a man and I want to become a man now. It's almost too late. And he has to then get in touch by force with those things that somehow has started happening through medication. It's not fair, and that should be the R word all over again. And it's sad. I'm out of here. Crown Dion. God is good. Go in peace. Be in peace. And like I said, if you get that opportunity today, bless somebody. It'll make you feel good. Thank y'all. Thank you, Blazing. Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, Kiana. And thank you, everybody who listened before. Share, like, subscribe. When I go, make sure you join me. And you can come up and actually talk about it. I talk back. Boom.